Hey guys, Gizmodic here, and today I will be comparing two of the most popular budget-oriented smartphones. So we are talking about Xiaomi's Redmi 3S Prime and Lenovo's K6 Power. A lot of you guys were asking me which phone should you buy between these two, and by the end of this video, you guys will be able to decide which phone is the better one for you. So without any further ado, let's get started with the comparison between the Xiaomi Redmi 3S Prime and the Lenovo K6 Power. Let's start by talking about the design and the build quality of these two phones. In terms of design and build quality, both of these phones are nearly identical to each other. Both of them are made out of metal, they have 5-inch displays, and they are available in three colors, which are dark grey, silver, and gold. The similarities don't end there because both of these phones have their fingerprint scanners as well as the loudspeaker on the back. The footprint of these phones is almost similar, and even the placement of the power button, volume rockers, and the SIM card tray is identical on both of these phones. So design wise, these two phones are nearly identical to each other, but the Lenovo K6 Power feels slightly bulkier as compared to the Redmi 3S Prime. Also, the power button and the volume rocker on the Lenovo K6 Power feels quite cheap and wobbly, whereas the ones on the Redmi 3S Prime feel solid and top notch. So the Redmi 3S Prime gets a slight advantage in the build quality department, but overall both of these phones are really made very well. The similarities don't end there because on the inside as well, these phones are very identical to each other. Both the Redmi 3S Prime as well as the Lenovo K6 Power come with the octa-core Snapdragon 430 CPU with 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage. They both have the Adreno 505 GPU, and the Lenovo K6 Power has a 4000 mAh of battery, whereas the Redmi 3S Prime has a 4100 mAh of battery. So internally both of these phones are very similar to each other, but the K6 Power has a 1080p display as compared to the 720p display on the Redmi 3S Prime. In terms of day-to-day performance and gaming, both of these phones do really well, and I've actually done individual gaming reviews of these phones, so if you want to watch them, I will put a link in the video's description. The Redmi 3S Prime is slightly better in terms of gaming as compared to the K6 Power, but overall the performance of both of these phones is more than satisfactory, and I did not notice any major lags on both of these phones. They handle everything quite well, and the phones are actually quite nice to use because they only have a 5-inch display, so you can easily use them with one hand without any sorts of issues. In terms of software, the Redmi 3S Prime runs on Xiaomi's MIUI, which is currently based on Android 6.0 Marshmallow. So MIUI 8 gives you a lot of features like Quick Ball, Second Space, Dual Apps, and you also have the MIUI theme store that gives you a lot of themes to play with and customize your phone. On the other hand, the Lenovo K6 Power is also running on Android 6.0 Marshmallow, but you get Lenovo's Vibe UI, which is very close to stock Android. But even then, Lenovo has provided quite a few features like double tap to wake, using the fingerprint sensor to click photos, and so on. And they also have something similar to Second Space and Dual Apps on their phones. So that is called Secure Zone, and you also have something called as the Extended View, which is similar to Quick Ball on the Redmi 3S Prime. The K6 Power also has a theme store, but it's not as extensive as the one on the Redmi 3S Prime. So both of these phones, through their software, offer a good amount of value and features to their users. If you want a phone that's close to stock Android, then you can go with the K6 Power, but if you want a bit more customization, you can go with the Redmi 3S Prime. So it ultimately boils down to your personal preference, and the software on both of these phones is actually very good, and you will be happy with either of them. Moving on to the camera on these two phones, here's where the Lenovo K6 Power gets a strong lead as compared to the Redmi 3S Prime. So the K6 Power has a 13 megapixel camera on the back, and it has an 8 megapixel camera on the front. The Redmi 3S Prime gets a 13 megapixel camera on the back, but on the front it has a 5 megapixel camera. In terms of camera performance, I did put both of these phones through various testing scenarios, and the Lenovo K6 Power performs much better than the Redmi 3S Prime. The pictures taken from the Lenovo K6 Power are much better than the ones on the Redmi 3S Prime. The colors, the saturation, and the overall quality of the photo is better from the Lenovo K6 Power as compared to the Redmi 3S Prime. As you can see, I am showing different samples from both of these phones on the screen right now, and the Lenovo K6 Power is the clear winner here. So Lenovo has done a great job with the camera on the Lenovo K6 Power, and I think it's currently one of the best cameras around the 10,000 mark. So if camera is your priority, I would suggest you to go by the Lenovo K6 Power. In terms of display, the Redmi 3S Prime gets a 5-inch 720p display, whereas the Lenovo K6 Power has a 5-inch 1080p display. So if you put both of these phones side by side, you will find the display on the K6 Power to be the better one. The colors on the Redmi 3S Prime have a bluish green tint that you normally see with AMOLED displays. The K6 Power on the other hand has an IPS LCD display, so the colors are much more accurate on the K6 Power as compared to the Redmi 3S Prime. So in terms of display department, the Lenovo K6 Power wins over the Redmi 3S Prime. In terms of battery life, both of these phones have a very similar capacity of battery. So the Lenovo K6 Power has a 4000 mAh of battery and the Redmi 3S Prime has 4100 mAh of battery. The Redmi 3S Prime used to give me a terrific battery life, and I've already covered it in my full review of that phone. Now I'm yet to extensively test the Lenovo K6 Power, so I can't give you my verdict on the battery life, but I'm expecting it to be very close to the Redmi 3S Prime. I will be covering the battery life of the K6 Power extensively in my review, which is coming up in a few days, so make sure that you subscribe for it. In terms of network, both of these phones support 4G and VoLTE out of the box, and they have a dual SIM card slot, but it's a hybrid slot, so you can use two SIM cards at once or you can use one SIM card and one memory card. The loudspeaker on the Lenovo K6 Power is much more superior than the Redmi 3S Prime. It has that stereo speaker thing going on with Dolby Atmos, so the overall output from the Lenovo K6 Power is better than the Redmi 3S Prime. Even the output from the headphone jack was better from the Lenovo K6 Power because you can tweak things using the Dolby Atmos system. The Redmi 3S Prime, on the other hand, gets an IR blaster which is absent on the K6 Power, so that's something that you should make a note of. So finally, out of the K6 Power and the Redmi 3S Prime, which phone should you buy? Well, if you give me 10,000 rupees right now and tell me to go get a phone, it has to be the Lenovo K6 Power. Now, the Redmi 3S Prime is not bad, but for 1000 rupees extra, you are getting a better display and a way better camera. If you are into things like watching VR videos or playing VR games, the 1080p display on the K6 Power is going to be much better in the VR mode as compared to the 720p one on the Redmi 3S Prime. So considering all of these things, the Lenovo K6 Power definitely wins this battle, and I think it is a great buy for 10,000 rupees. Now the Redmi 3S Prime also has another variant called the Redmi 3S which sells for 7,000 rupees. So if your budget is around 6 to 7,000 rupees, nothing beats the Redmi 3S. But if you are willing to spend more and you are looking at a phone for about 10,000 rupees, I would suggest you to go buy the Lenovo K6 Power. That wraps up my comparison video between the Lenovo K6 Power and the Redmi 3S Prime. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, then do let me know in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel for more upcoming reviews. Please like the video if you liked it, and please follow me on my social media pages for more updates. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.